20 things banned in Fortnite, starting with the Mortal Kombat crossover. For years, a lot of Mortal Kombat fans have been wanting to see a collab come to Fortnite, but did you know that Epic were not only thinking about adding it, they were actually going to release Mortal Kombat in Season 5, but decided to go for Street Fighter instead. According to rumors, the decision was made at the last minute because Mortal Kombat could be considered pretty violent for Fortnite standards. Despite having John Wick, Deadpool, Kratos, even Predator in the game, it turns out Mortal Kombat is where they drew the line. You were even able to see a Johnny Cage fatality in the Season 3 trailer as a hint, but it looks like, at least for now, Mortal Kombat is banned from Fortnite. Although I guess Epic could always change their mind in the future, and the same can be said for Travis Scott. Okay, there's a lot of Icon series skins, and when you're adding real people to your video game, one of them is eventually going to become a controversial person. But when it came to Travis Scott, he has been such a massive part of Fortnite history thanks to the astronomical concert and its success. And yet after years, Travis's Fortnite set has never reappeared in the game, and it became a meme at one point where everybody was trying to guess when he was going to come back. For a concert that successful, it's kind of confusing as to why he never returned to the item shop. But just a few months later, there was a horrible tragedy at Astroworld, and since then the community has accepted that it's probably time to move on from this set. Epic has seemingly made the same decision, and we probably won't be seeing Travis's Icon series in the game again. But for a banned item no one even knew about, we have the OG default dance. If you were an absolute Fortnite OG back in the day, you will remember that the default dance actually had a third option. Nowadays, we only have 2 songs, but in the early months of Chapter 1, this third version was one of the most popular styles to the default dance. But sadly, it was removed from the game with Epic pretending it simply never existed, and after years have passed, it seems like no one even remembers it. But for those of us who do, you might want to know why it was such a cool dance, and well, there's a reason we liked it so much. This third song was actually inspired heavily by George Michael's Faith, making it a huge copyright problem. So yeah, safe to say we probably won't ever see this dance in Fortnite again, unless Epic decides to turn it into an Icon series emote. But for something that is confirmed to be banned forever, we have Fortnite's China mode. This was an absolutely classic version of Fortnite that has existed alongside us for years. Now, we've always been pretty fascinated by it, and it had a ton of differences to our version of the game, thanks to China's gaming laws. It had time limits on how much you could play, and multiple people could win one game of Battle Royale. Fortnite China even had 0 microtransactions, meaning the Battle Pass and everything in it was completely free. You would even earn V-Bucks for completing challenges rather than XP, so to us it kinda seems like a dream come true. But unfortunately for all the Chinese players who were in love with Fortnite, the game is now completely banned in the country. Tencent and Epic Games shut down the servers forever last year, deleting everyone's accounts in the process, and the reason behind it is unclear right now, but it's probably because it just didn't make as much money as they wanted it to. With all of these things banned, we were really sad to see him go, but if there's one thing that everyone actually wanted to be banned, it was pay-to-win skins. The superhero skins are some of the most notorious pay-to-win skins that has ever existed in Fortnite, and the community was begging to see them removed. Basically, if you had one of these skins, you could customize it to be entirely one color, specifically black or white. And if you would wear one of these, it was insanely hard to spot you, especially in vehicles. I mean, it got to the point where having this skin practically gave you an invisibility glitch every match. And the same went for a skin named Plastic Patroller. Now, luckily, Epic made some changes after the outrage, removing all black and white superhero skins and changing Plastic Patroller to a grayish color. Problem solved. Although being pay to win isn't the only problem a skin can have, as proven by Calamity. And I gotta admit, this is probably one of the funniest and most random things that has ever caused Fortnite to make headlines. If you don't remember, back in Chapter 1, a skin named Calamity was added to the game, and upon her release, players noticed that she was extremely unique. For some unknown reason, Fortnite has actually enabled jiggle physics, causing the internet to go into a frenzy. Not that big of a deal, I don't know why everyone went crazy over it. Okay, yeah, so this basically caused Epic to quickly ban the jiggle physics, calling it a totally embarrassing accident. I mean, they said it wasn't intentional, but someone programmed that, that's all I'm saying about it. And because this made headlines everywhere, Epic wanted to stop that from happening again, which is also why they banned police cars. Yes, back in 2020, when the world was going through a really tough time, Fortnite wanted to do anything but remind us of it. So they quietly removed police cars from the game to avoid any controversy, and to this day, they have not returned. Epic didn't just disable these cars, they fully banned them. In creative mode, they straight up deleted the ability to place police cars, and we have not seen a sign of them returning to Fortnite ever since. They have to say they are not coming back, and neither is the OG burst. There are a lot of items and moments that make us feel that huge boost of nostalgia for Chapter 1, and holding an OG burst in your hand is definitely high on that list. But with the release of Chapter 2, most of the OG weapons were completely reskinned and reworked, giving them a totally new identity. And in almost 3 years, there's been no sign of the OG design making a return, although it has a better chance than the block. When it was announced in Season 7, the block seemed like a perfect idea. Players were able to make their own POIs, and Fortnite would actually put it on the map. What other game does that? Well, it seemed like an amazing idea, and was for a while, the block had its issues. The idea of letting anyone design a POI sounds risky, but Epic had to manually select designs, so you'd think they would take more care into what they add onto the map, right? Well, it turns out that map makers were adding secret chests and farmable materials into the block so that pros would get advantages in tournaments. Now, that wasn't the big deal though, until one map came along that sealed the block's fate for good. A creator named Fury released a map that seemed innocent enough until people spotted a scene in the basement that looked questionable to say the least. The news articles began to appear and Epic quickly removed it from the game, and a few months later they vaulted the block entirely and we will probably never see it again. We also had to say goodbye to team killing. Just like the third default dance, team killing was a feature that only OG Fortnite players remember. Back in the day, you could actually just straight up murder your teammates with almost no consequence. I mean, people were going around pranking their friends or going into a fill session and trolling other players relentlessly. Some streamers were even banned from the game for killing their teammates for loot, and after a ton of complaints, Epic realized it wasn't good for the meta, so they deleted the feature forever. Something that they also confirmed was never going to return is stretch resolution. When it comes to playing Fortnite professionally, there are many ways to get an advantage, but by far the most popular of them was all the way back in 2019. If you stretch your resolution, you could see way more and players were apparently easier to hit. Because of this unfair advantage, Epic went and banned stretch res, making it impossible to do. And just for good measure, they disqualified anyone who used it in tournaments. And the same goes for Samus. She would have been the first ever Fortnite Nintendo collab, and probably would have been one of the most popular crossovers of Season 5, but unfortunately, plans to add Samus into the game were cancelled at the last minute. According to the Epic vs. Apple court documents, Epic were going to add Samus into Fortnite during the Bounty Hunter season, but something changed those plans before it could happen. We even saw Samus teased in one of the Batman comics, meaning she was probably very close to actually coming out. But sadly, according to rumors, Nintendo were happy to let Epic add Samus to the game, but only if she was a Nintendo Switch exclusive skin, and Fortnite were not happy about that at all. They wanted everyone to have the skin, not just Nintendo Switch players, so they didn't release her at all. If it's true, it's a pretty nice story. We're glad that Epic stands up for us. But one of the craziest bans in Fortnite history is pickaxe swinging in tournaments. Tournaments have brought the bans of stretch resolution, golden umbrellas, and now pickaxe swinging. Let me explain. A few years ago, cheaters in tournaments would actually swing at each other to let them know they didn't want to fight and were just rotating into storm. It became a pretty popular strat for teamers, but as we know, that's not really allowed in Fortnite. You have to fight people you come across or strategically avoid them. You can't just swing at each other in team, and so Epic Games changed the rules. Now, if you swing your pickaxe at another player, it's a bannable offense. And that's not even the craziest way that Epic banned players. That award goes to the swing set of doom. Yes, the massive game-breaking bug in Chapter 1 over at Retail Row. It was a simple swing set at first, but this thing actually had working physics. You could genuinely swing on it, but this had unintended consequences. Players were jumping on the swing and then just getting banned for quote-unquote cheating. Now, luckily, Epic caught on to this and unbanned all the affected players, but then they eventually removed the swing set's physics. But I have to admit, it's not the worst thing to be banned though, because there's no longer Fortnite Mobile. I mean, Fortnite China being banned is one thing. It affected an entire country's worth of players, but when Apple banned Fortnite from Apple's App Store, it affected the entire world. Ever since that fateful day, Fortnite has been completely unusable on iOS devices. Even iPads and Macs can no longer get it. For those who are lucky enough to still have it installed, they are stuck on Chapter 2 Season 3 and will be forever. There is an alternative way to play it through GeForce Now, but it is super buggy and laggy. We may never get Fortnite Mobile on iOS for another 5 years, if not permanently. But a ban that split the entire community though was the double pump. We all remember how overpowered the double pump was in Chapter 1. It was so powerful that a huge portion of the community used it, and if you didn't learn double pump, you would fall behind. It became the meta. But sadly, Epic banned it a few months later when they added a time delay to shotguns. And sometimes double pump returns by accident, whether it's through exotic weapons or bugs, but it will never be the same again. And one of the most famous banned items of Fortnite history is the Eye of the Storm tracker. This was a rare backpack that was accidentally added into the game during Season 4. One day people noticed this random item on the floor that they could pick up and wear as a backpack. It told you the location of the next storm and seemed like it was going to be a huge advantage. But after just 30 minutes, Epic removed it from the game and it was never added again. Turns out it was never supposed to release. It was just a developer item that accidentally made its way into the game. Eventually, it did come out as the Storm Scout sniper rifle, but it just wasn't the same feeling as straight up wearing a backpack. While almost everything in this video has been an item, the most famous thing that was ever banned from Fortnite was a person, more specifically, Face Jarvis. Jarvis was one of the most popular up-and-coming Fortnite creators on the scene, creating hilarious and entertaining videos on the game in ways that not a lot of other YouTubers were doing. Well, fortunately, his goal of making unique videos turned out to be his downfall, because one day he released a video where he tried out aimbot and cheats in Fortnite, just to find out what it looked like through the eyes of a hacker. We've all fallen victim to hackers, so why not see it through their POV for once? Well, sadly, Epic didn't see it that way, banning Jarvis permanently from the game and telling him that he would never be allowed to return. Just like every other thing on this list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.